How are you doing, guys? Thanks for watching. This is Mike Bland, CEO of SIS Global Investigations. I'm going to be making a lot more videos. Been very busy, and it's been a crazy time of the year during the winter. Everybody's been very sick with this COVID stuff going on. So, I have a long list of video topics I'm going to be making. One I wanted to make first off was really what sets us apart from other, PI companies, other global companies out there, and that is basically that I have seen coming from a career in law enforcement and also in private investigations that most people are just afraid. And what I mean is, in the law enforcement realm, for example, you have, when I first went into law enforcement, they were telling us back in the day that we were going to be going out, catching the bad guys, kicking in doors and taking names. And we did a whole lot of that. But that was very dependent on which agency you worked for. I also worked for places that said, you're never going to go and do anything. And when you ask the reason for that, they would tell you they're afraid of being sued or, some type of litigation, afraid of getting in trouble and getting arrested, afraid of getting complaints, basically afraid of, internal affairs, or some departments call that Bureau of Professional Responsibility. But basically, when you circle back to that original word, they're afraid. Well, then I retired from police work and I went into private investigations, started my own business. And just like in police work, where I never operated under that umbrella of fear, and I did my job, which is why I outperformed most people I worked with, on top of the fact that I was a high energy guy, motivated, trained, effective, and not afraid. I cleaned house. So, and first off, I'll address that fear topic in a minute, but, and what that's all about, what's going on there. Then within starting this private investigations company, and having this going 8 years now, and now having a second one, I had realized that in this industry, I talk to other PI companies all the time, and they can't solve, cases. They can't solve child custody cases. They can't solve cheating spouse cases. They can't solve normal surveillance cases. And they tell me how hard this business is in this job. And I usually ask them their experience level, what they've done. And these guys don't have any real world investigative experience doing anything. I have talked to everybody from exotic dancers to, some news guys or construction guys that just somehow squeaked in and thought this sounded like a cool career. Well, it is cool, and it can be fun. It can also be very stressful, and if you know what you're doing, and then you start getting more of those high profile jobs, it can be even more stressful. But, for these guys out there that get the bare minimum online college private investigation or seminar certificate, or work for someone for 6 months under a PI company and then go and get an LLC and start their own PI company, I think when those guys then go put themselves out there and as a business, and then people hire them and they come across as this professional investigative company with the highly trained, experienced, licensed, and insured, it's beyond the definition of fraud, because people are, when they look at a private investigator and when they or some corporate guy or law firm really needs a professional detective, what most people are picturing in their mind is someone who is highly experienced, highly trained, professional, does that thing that they're hired to do, delivers results, and answers the phone. And I have yet to see hardly anyone, meaning other investigation companies, really live up to that standard of what people think a private detective is. They simply do not meet any of these standards. Last week, I called another investigation company that I believe advertises as a global company, but definitely allegedly handles Central and South America. And I reached out to them, and a lady did answer the phone, a secretary. I gave her a message and told her I was interested in talking to the person that was in charge of the investigations over Central and South America. And she took my information down, and I never heard another word back. I have literally seen this happen for years. So it is something where, it is, literally unheard of. So, with us, if you call us, we answer the phone, and we're not one of these companies that are doing other things than what we advertise. So, anyways, that's why people choose us, guys. And we, like I said, are retired law enforcement. I've done everything from finding missing girls, runaway kids, murder cases, information on terrorism, handled murder cases, violent crimes, property crimes, insurance, law firm investigations, locating people, cold cases, the basic stuff like process serving, of course. But I think the thing, when people come to us, it's when they've kind of tried everybody else, and they realize they either got ripped off because they hired the guy I described a minute ago, but they just didn't get the results. And the thing I'll say is that if you're going to hire somebody to do anything in life, whether it's a plumber or whether you're doing this investigations, you obviously want to get what you're paying for. And again, it is an industry where no one can guarantee results. But with us, on most cases we've ever handled since April 2014, we come back with a wealth of information on any case compared to what the client originally had. And on many of those cases, on most, the cases are solved. But again, as an honest guy, as a Christian, as an honest business owner, I have never told a client, like I've also heard many of our competitors say, that I will solve the case or put on the website there's guaranteed results. It's not ethical, it's not realistic, and it's not honest. So I think for people that want a guy or a company that is a no BS company, is blunt, is going to tell you the straight up honest answer on the situation, or if your case is even worth pursuing, with, meaning through a law firm or through a PI firm or spending that kind of money in general, we will let you know based on our experience. And of course, there's always questions that are better answered by an attorney, but as a whole, and sometimes those two can kind of, the legal questions and the PI questions, as you all know, can kind of, there's a fine line there. So we're very good at knowing where that line is. We're also good at knowing where all the other lines are, meaning operating within the laws, doing what's ethical, what is professional, and what people are really looking for out there. And people just want results. and they want something that they can also afford. And because at the end of the day, what everyone considers to be a good deal is when they walk out of a place is, sure, you know, did I get the results I was looking for? Was it a price that I'm happy with? And did the guys treat me like a human being? And did they answer the phone? And people just want to be treated with respect. So I think that, you know, it's, you know, it's like there's always the one bad apple that ruins it for everyone. And unfortunately, the industry has left a lot to be desired. When I came from law enforcement, I came into private investigations. I thought everyone was going to be ex-CIA in this business, ex-federal, you know, federal law enforcement, former state troopers, retired police, and these guys that had all these magical investigative powers. And then I got into this industry and I realized it's quite the contrary. In fact, I have literally, in 8 years' time, I met one investigator myself that I actually was excited that I had met, and that I literally looked up to this guy, where I was calling him for advice. And I, you know, he was probably about 65, 70 years old, older guy, and travels the world. I will not say his name. And amazing investigator. This guy told me stuff that I'd never even heard of before or thought of, just mind-blowing stuff. And had a ridiculous amount of training, was former law enforcement. But when you've been in the industry 8 years and you only met one person like this, I think that's the kind of thing that makes you kind of worry a little bit, makes you kind of scratch your head. And, you know, that is the kind of guy as an investigator that I strive to be right there. You know, and that's the only way to describe that. And that I'm trying to model my companies after. Because this other stuff I've seen that people out there put out, and it's not answering the phone business, that's not me. You know, if you want the guy, when people hire an investigator, they want someone who's going to push the laws, push the limits, push the ethics, push every boundary known to man to get their answers, to get their answers that they need. For you people that are not understanding that are in this business, that's what's supposed to be going on here. You're supposed to be having the work ethic, the training, and the experience to deliver exactly what these people are paying their hard-earned money for. If you're not doing that, then you're just playing PI. If you want the guy that pushes every limit to come back with that photo that you need, then I'm the guy. And that's why, that's the difference. And that's what, there's always something that separates people from everybody else. And I've learned sometimes in life, if you're good at something, then you've got to let people know that. You got to put that out there, and you got to put out there why you're different. So that's why we're different at SIS Global Investigations. All right, guys. Thanks for watching.